Failing schools, students who have completed high school but don't know the work necessary to begin their college journey. We'll be talking about that in this program. But there are some kids who are excelling, and Sharon Rose will be talking to one of them in our Young Academic Achiever segments. I am Sam Tate. This is Brooklyn 45. The recent news that nearly 80% of those who graduate from New York City high schools have not mastered the skills to do college-level work, and in fact must relearn basic skills in reading, should be of concern to parents, and indeed to all of us. Add to that another report that New York City plans to close 22 struggling schools, according to Chancellor Walcott, because they are not getting better. 8 of those schools are in Brooklyn and 1 in Queens. Either too many of our schools are not helping our kids, or our kids are not helping themselves. Are we going to sit back and accept this sad state of affairs, or are we going to get ready to provide a better path for our kids? My 2 guests are from an organization called Let's Get Ready, and we're going to be talking about how they're getting our kids ready. Our nation faces a huge educational achievement gap. And my first question, of course, is to Anthony Haywood, who is the program manager of Let's Get Ready. It's good to see you here.
Thank you, Professor.
How is Let's Get Ready helping to narrow this educational gap?
So Let's Get Ready's mission is to provide college access, or to increase college access for all students, regardless of socioeconomic status. We do this by recruiting college students to serve as tutors and mentors for our high school students, and we help them with the SAT prep portion as well as the college application process itself. So our goal is to one day have all students, regardless of background, be able to get to college.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I actually served as a site director for Let's Get Ready when I was an undergraduate. I was a college student, and I was so connected to this work. I worked here in Brooklyn at City Tech, and since then I was a teacher with the New York City Department of Education, as well as I worked with Hunter College, and I came back to this work because I was so committed to helping students from poor communities get to college and succeed. So I've been doing this all together for about 5 years.
You know, there is a report that too many of our kids, when they try to get to college, are not prepared.
That's correct.
Why do you think, and you've had your experience in the public schools, you've had your experience in college, why is this so?
So there is definitely a content gap. We know that a lot of our students haven't had the necessary background and some of the basic skills, and they come to us having varying degrees of proficiency in both verbal and English, as well as math, language skills that they need. However, we find that our students have an interest and they have a desire to get to college. So regardless of what their content issues are, what their content capabilities are, we feel that we can help them improve. And that's what we do. We don't want our students comparing themselves to anyone. We want them to compare themselves to themselves and increase their own scores.
You say our kids. What do you mean by our kids? How do they become your kids?
Well, they are my kids. They are your kids as well.
How do they become your kids?
We connect to our students. Personally, I'm a student. I'm a product of the New York City Board of Education. I went to public schools. I went to the City University of New York schools. So I'm connected to these students because I understand the struggles that they have. I understand the backgrounds that they come from. So I'm connected to this bigger issue of lower achievement in urban communities from a personal level. So when I work with students, I see myself in them.
And they, of course, can relate to that because you communicate that to them.
And that's our program model. We try to find coaches that come from some of the same communities that our students come from, serve as mentors and role models for our students, and our students also connect to our coaches for that same reason.
How does a student get involved in your program?
So if you're a high school student and you want to go to college and you're a junior, you go to letsgetready.org. This summer, we're launching programs all over the New York City area. right here in Brooklyn, we'll have a program at City Tech. You will apply, our application will be on our website next month. You'll apply, someone will be in contact with you. There are no academic requirements for this program. If you have an interest in going to college, we can help get you there. The program is free for all students who meet our criteria. Now, that said, we're looking specifically for students who are first-generation college students or students who couldn't afford an SAT prep program on their own, and most importantly, students who have received free or reduced lunch at some point. So students who really need this and can't afford this service on their own.
Okay, explain the SAT prep.
So our SAT prep portion our program runs twice a week for 3 hours. The first 2 hours we spend really working with our students to help get their proficiency up, teaching them strategies to do better on the SAT. The second part we spend and devote that to what we call college choice, helping students develop a list of schools that are their best fits. We feel that it's not enough to want to go to college, but you need to know which colleges are best for you. Should you go to a two-year college? Should you go to a private university? Should you want to go to a SUNY or a state four-year college? What schools are best based on your income, based on your scores, and based on your academic proficiency?
And apart from the SAT?
So the college choice component of our program really focuses in on students developing a personal statement that will get them noticed and get colleges really interested in having them on their campuses. Mm-hmm. So our college coaches help and mentor them and walk them through the appropriate things that they want to put in their personal statements and the things that are really going to help get them recognized.
At the beginning of this program, I said that I had two guests, and it's time to introduce the second guest, and her name is Mikhail Stanberry,
yes,
who is one of the students of Let's Get Ready. Let's talk about your journey with Let's Get Ready.
All right. Well, I started Let's Get Ready my senior year, actually. I signed up during the summer, and I started the program in fall as a chance to take my SATs again because I wasn't satisfied with my score. I didn't feel like it would get me where I wanted to go. SAT scores have been like a big problem, you know, for students nowadays, and it doesn't seem that we're scoring high enough to be going to the colleges that we want to be going to. So I decided Let's Get Ready would be the perfect program for me since I couldn't afford SAT prep on my own. So I signed up for Let's Get Ready in the summer, and I got a call, and, you know, they said I was in, and I was pretty much shocked, and I was happy. So my mom was excited, you know, and I started the program maybe 2 weeks after I got that call, and I took a practice SAT, which, you know, basically told me what my level was, where I was with the SAT, what I was expected to get the next time I took it. And that practice SAT is what led to me being in a group that was on my level and being involved with 4 other students and one tutor for, you know, both English, the verbal part of the SAT, as well as the math part. And this mentor, this tutor, helped me improve my score. And it's the score that I received on the SAT after I took it again. I'm kind of happy with it, you know.
You want to tell us what that score is, what it was, what it is now?
Well, I mean,
it's entirely up to you. I don't really put you on the spot.
Yeah, well, the score I don't exactly remember because it was like a few months ago. Mm-hmm. But I know I did improve on my last score by at least 50 points. So that's a big part of the SAT. You know, I don't want to be applying with other students who got the same score as me as before when I could go up 50 points, and I didn't know that myself. So,
talk to me about what you see as the value of the SAT.
Well,
you said earlier that a lot of students who do not have a high SAT score are not able to get into the colleges they want to get into.
Yeah, a lot of the colleges that people are applying to or students are applying to require you take the SAT, of course, and the SATs out of 2,400, and a lot of kids go, well, that's a huge number to be scoring on the test. And, you know, it scares people, and you think, well, what if I don't get a high enough score? I'm not going to get into a good enough school. And so it's basically true at this point, you know. A lot of colleges look at the scores and think, well, that's a bad student or that's a good student, although they look at other components. And the SAT is one of the most important parts of a college application. You know, it could make or break your application. So
Where do you want to go? What college do you want to go to?
personally, I would really love to go to the University of Southern California, also known as USC. You know, that's in Cali.
You want to get out of New York?
Not exactly, but it would be really nice to, you know, travel to a different state, meet new people, and go to a college that's well known for its education capabilities, as well as other elements, you know, sports and all the accomplishments they've made over the past years. So
What's your academic interest?
I want to major in neuroscience, which is basically a major about the brain. It's a science major, and it's just something that interests me, and I feel that that's what I want to do with my life. You know, I want to help people with problems that may not know are there. They may not know those problems are there, and those problems aren't easily solved, or they're not readily available to be cured, or they're not researched enough.
Did you wake up one morning suddenly and decided you want to be a neurosurgeon, or you thought about it and researched it?
I did not wake up one morning and say, I want to become a neuroscientist, because first of all, I didn't know what it was. But I took inspiration from, of course, TV and seeing online and saying, well, you know, I want to be a doctor who helps people because I like helping people. But I saw people in surgery rooms, you know, on TV, like I watched House and Grey's Anatomy, and just said, well, I want to be a surgeon. I want to be somebody who helps somebody, you know, on a table who can't help their own problems. So I researched it, as you said, and I looked into it, and I was like, well, neuroscience is a science that nobody seems to be expanding on and nobody seems to be interested in. And I thought, well, it's not that boring, you know? So I found it interesting, and I researched more and more and found where I wanted to do.
Anthony, that's a statement that bothers me. And it's probably true that it's one of these fields that too many of our people seem not to be interested in. Why?
You know, a lot of students from urban areas come from families that, for whatever reason, don't have a culture of higher education. They may be first-generation college students. And if you're a first-generation college student, then your mom or your dad never went through that process. They can't guide you through SAT prep or college applications or any of the things that go along with ascending to higher ed. And we understand that. And that's why we're so happy that we have students like Mikhail who, you know, despite, you know, some of the lapses in her own personal education, she says, this is what I want to do. I may not have a personal model for it, but I'm going to find it. And there are thousands of students like that in our program who really seek something that they may not have a personal model for, but they know how to get it.
Well, let's talk about personal model. Mikhail, did your parents go to college?
My mom went to community college, and she's taken a few years, and she's working on getting a degree to become an RN. And I mean, I've seen her struggle to pay for college, and I've seen her struggle to pay for her classes. And I thought, well, I mean, I want to go to college and not have to struggle through that. I want to be able to finish my education and not have to worry as hard as she's been worrying, you know, with her kids and obviously with me. And I want to finish that education that maybe she won't finish until I'm finished. And I want to be the person who, you know, takes my family to a next level that that gives my brothers and my sisters, my younger brothers and my younger sisters, an example to follow. And I think that's what, Let's Get Ready helps people to realize, because they realize, well, I can do this, I can go to college, I can fill out my essays, I can fill out the whole common application, which is, the way we apply to college nowadays. I can fill it out and I can be successful. So I believe, yeah.
Is there a gap between you socially and your friends socially? Is there an educational gap between you and your friends? Is there a conflict, or you're all on the same page and they're all encouraging you to be what you want to be?
A lot of the kids at my school may not have come from the background I have come from. I grew up in a neighborhood where public school wasn't that great, and I ended up going to a better middle school than most kids in my neighborhood. And I'm really grateful for that, because obviously it helped me get to the high school I'm in and helped me find this program. But the kids at my school currently, they encourage everybody. They try and say, well, oh, you're going to do this and you're going to do that, you're going to be okay. And I think they see the fact that I'm inspired and the fact that I want to go far, and they say, well, she's going to go far if she wants it that bad, So as long as you're encouraged and you really want to get where you want to go, I think that's the best part of being in school and having your friends encourage you to do that.
That's such a great story. I think we'd like to see you 10 years from now. I have no idea where I'm going to be 10 years from now, but we must see you 10 years from now and talk to you about where you are then, and look back. Look back not just where you are now, but where you were 2, 3, 4 years ago. Yeah. So many of our kids, Anthony, look at television for enjoyment, entertainment. Mikhail has been looking at television to open her eyes as to what the future can be. That's amazing.
She's an excellent example of an LGR student. We were talking earlier, and I told her, by the time she finds a cure for Alzheimer's, I'll need it. But
let's talk about the STEM program. Our president has said over and over again that Americans are behind the Asians in preparation and readiness for the jobs of the future, and that the jobs of the future are going to be in science and technology and engineering and in medicine. You caught on to that very quickly. But how does Let's Get Ready help our students prepare for what the president has been saying is necessary, and what we know that so many kids of color are not understanding the importance of and not being prepared for?
Well, our position is, make no mistake, there's no clear or sustainable way to a job or a career without going to college. The students who enter Let's Get Ready, on average, increase their scores by 118 points. So if you're a student and your math score, you really are interested in a STEM program at FIT or another school that is really competitive, take our program and you'll increase your score. And hopefully you'll have access to that school that you want. It will increase your chances to get into that program you want. And that's what we're doing to address that. We're really focusing on person-to-person student tutors and mentors to help our students increase their scores to get to college.
I was taking a look at your website, and there was many testimonials there. And some of the comments by students, two of the comments really struck home. One was, it's a golden ticket to success. And the other is, it's a rigorous program. Let's talk about the rigor of the program.
Okay.
Micaiah?
Well, when you start the program, you think it's really hard because, you go to school and then you're going to SAT prep after. And 3 hours, it's a long time for some kids to just sit and really pay attention. So by the time you get into the program, there's going to be homework and there's going to be tests, another SAT test, to see where you've progress throughout the program. And the rigor of our tutors, they give us curriculum, you know, they put out a calendar and they say this has to be done every week. They put out, you know, geometry, trigonometry, what else, whatever you need to get done by the time the program is over. And they really stick to that schedule to make sure that you're learning as much as you possibly can.
And you're focusing as to where you want to go. As they say, no gain, no what?
No gain, no gain.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah.
No pain. You understand
That's
the necessity
exactly
of pain.
Yeah, because, you know, you go home and you do the homework and you're like, well, I don't know if this is what, you know, it's hard.
Listen,
and then,
you know.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope the many kids who are watching this, the many students who are watching you, would be encouraged by what you're doing and by what you've said. We're out of time. Anthony Haywood, the program manager of Let's Get Ready, and of course, Mikhail Stanbury, who watches television not just for entertainment, but for in pursuit of her vision. I want to thank you for being on Brooklyn 45.
Thank you very
I
much
wish
for
you
having us.
success. I encourage you to continue the work that you're doing. I applaud the work that you're doing, and I hope that people, when they hear about your organization, will understand that they don't have to accept failure.
Let's get ready.org.
And now let's go to Jamila Schuster, who's got some words for people who may be feeling lonely.
Do you feel lonely? Maybe it's time for you to rethink your social life. According to a new study, people who feel lonely are more likely to develop dementia and old age than those who do not. Researchers suggest that having a supportive social network is linked to positive outcomes psychologically and physically, while lacking support can be harmful. In fact, studies find that loneliness may cause high blood pressure and increase the risk of heart disease. So join a book club or pick up a new hobby. Just get out there and connect with people, or simply like us on Facebook and be our friend. I'm Jamila Schuster. Now back to you, Sharon.
Thank you, Jamila. Tonight, our young academic achiever is Kim Edwards. She is a student, a freshman, that mind you, at Brooklyn High School for Law and Technology. Kim, thank you for joining us in Brooklyn 45.
Thank you, Ms. Rose.
Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself and the fact that you're a freshman at Brooklyn High School for Law and Technology. Why did you choose that school, and how you're doing in school at this moment?
Well, I am a ninth grader. I chose that school because I felt as though their graduation rate was really nice. The programs there fit my personality, and it helped lead me towards my goal as becoming a lawyer. And the principal, when I went to do the interviews to getting into the school and the orientation, I felt that it had a lovely community, and I felt I would progress well in that school.
Okay, so you're interested in a career in law.
Yes.
Okay. When you were first selected to be one of our young academic achievers, one of the things that stood out about you was that you had such excellent communication skills. You know, appears to be so much more mature than your age. It belies your age. So is that something that is part of what causes your achievement?
Well, me speaking so well to have a high vocabulary, it helps add, it's a benefit to helping me toward my goal, because you have to know how to talk to people, to connect well with people so that they can understand your point of view and so that they can understand where you're coming from and your idea on things. It's like an added bonus, because as a lawyer you have to be able to debate with people, but on a respectful level.
Okay, so tell us about some of the things that you said you want to be a lawyer. So how are you preparing for your career right now in high school? Because I know you're in several clubs and councils and so forth. So tell us about that.
Well, actually, recently my school is very, very, very strict when it comes to college and staying on track and keeping up with your goals for yourself. So I had attended a trip with my school to one of the Ivy League schools, Yale University, where they showed us around and they told us about the Law Institute. Since most of us that attend the high school is in the law program, they thought it would be a good idea to show them what law in college was really about. So the administration sat us down and sat us through the introduction of how, with a couple of college students that also are in the law program there, and they got to explain to us how their first experiences was. And also, I am also in a law class as well, where we have interesting debates and we do interesting cases like the Board of Ed versus,
Well, tell me about your, okay, I just want to bring this to the forefront. Your class president, your grade president, right?
Yes.
Some of the things you do as grade president is to be an example for other students. And how did you get chosen for as grade president?
well, at first, in order to be chosen, since we're new to the school, we had to be interviewed by all the grade teachers, our science teacher, every teacher that we had for each class. And they had to get a feel of what we're about and get to know us so that they can know that whatever they saw as the right choice was, that they did the right thing and chose the right person. And we went around to each and every 9th grade class and gave a little speech about what we would like to do as a president for them and what ideas we had in mind for the whole 9th grade.
Okay, so you're just practicing for your future career then. Ultimately, where do you see yourself ending up in the field of law?
In the field of law, I feel I would end up probably as a district attorney at first, and then when I start getting the feel of how the law system works and fully understanding the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, I'll be able to accomplish my goal of being Supreme Court Justice.
Supreme Court Justice, future Supreme Court Justice. Well, that's a very, very, very admirable, career to choose. You have some strong social skills, some good communication skills, and tell us what advice do you have for some of the other students that might be able to emulate some of the things that you do to be able to help them succeed?
My advice to other students is to focus, never lose sight of their goals and what they have for themselves in the future, and to always try hard and do not do the bare minimum, because the bare minimum will not get you to where you want to go. And do not set unrealistic goals. Just move one step at a time, and when you get there, you'll feel so accomplished.
Thank you, Kim, for joining us on Young Academic Achievers. I'm Sharon Rose. This is Brooklyn 45.